Hi, everybody. Lynn White here with Getting Through It. We're going to teach you how to get through the dark periods of your lives as we all go through them because that is life. With me is Lillian Egan. She's our super amazing moderator and producer, and a wonderful human being, Barbara Slaine. You're going to hear her story. There are few people on the planet who do as much for others as Barbara does, and that's also what this show is about. When we go through hard times, I believe that is all about learning. Every curveball that's thrown at you is a test. It's a way to learn how to catch them because you're going to be thrown a lot of curveballs in this journey of life. And it is a matter of how you catch them and what you do with them. And I find that the people who seem to be the most fulfilled are those who give back and teach others how to do the same. So let's get to Barbara. Barbara, your story.
Hi, thank you. I'm honored to be here. And I feel that any act of service, as you said, people will say, why are you doing this and that? And I'm like, it's selfish because nothing gives back more than service energetically. It just is it enhances your life, or it enhances my life.
Right. And you're in the health field, in the wellness field. And it's interesting. I know you started in school in your 20s, studying as a physician's assistant. And then in your mid 40s, you got breast cancer.
45, yeah.
Yeah. And for any woman who knows someone who has had it, Lillian, your mom, my mom, and myself, it is the scariest diagnosis that you can get if you're a woman or, if you're a man too, because you can't even explain it or describe it. You just know that there is something that is lethal in your body that could literally take you out at any time. And you don't know how far gone it is when you're first diagnosed, what the prognosis is, because again, that too, there's a process to the healing in breast cancer. But you were 45 and you're a mother. Tell me what that was like for you.
Well, they say ignorance is bliss to a certain degree. Well, my mother died very young of ovarian cancer. And I really think the most important thing to say is that you have to be your own advocate because 2 years prior, I had a papilloma, which was a precursor, and I should have followed it up. I wasn't given that guidance. So, as wonderful as medical institutions are, you have to be your own educator and advocate. Then 2 years later, I found a lump. I went to a local doctor. He said it was nothing. And a friend urged me, and I went to Sloan. And it was that day that my life stopped. Because when you get the word cancer immediately is a collective fear-based word. And
Right.
when you hear it, it's like you're in this vortex and everything stops. And that is the most important time to take a breath and have someone who can guide you because it's very easy to make the wrong decisions.
Right.
So I feel that my life was by angels saved in that the first one said, you better go get another diagnosis. I had hormone negative. I would have been gone, just
Mm-hmm.
gone. And
Wow.
back then, hormone negative had a very low success rate. So even doctors that see me now, they're like, wow, you had hormone negative, 27 years ago.
Explain a little bit what that is as opposed to hormone positive.
It has a higher mortality rate in that in the first 5 years, if it comes back, it's very fast and it's much harder to treat.
Hmm.
As a matter of fact, yeah, I was just at a clinic in Switzerland with a young lady and it was devastating. She had it, they treated it, she got pregnant. She kept complaining to the doctor about pain, and the doctor said it was the baby, and now she's dying. So I'm
Oh,
just saying, I know, doctors are not God. The second angel came in because they do a lot of trials. And my friend said, Barbara, you're not doing the trial. And half the people in that trial didn't make it because trials are trials,
yeah,
right? So I'm not saying trials are not good. I'm saying you really need to do your homework.
right.
And fear will push you to do things rapidly and sometimes not in your best interest.
Right. I think that also when you hear it, I don't know about you, but I found out in a portal from a hospital that did a
Oh,
biopsy. And I was sitting in bed on my computer
sorry.
and I saw carcinogen breast. And all I did was, oh my God, I started shaking and I ducked under the covers and I stayed
Oh,
there. I just wanted to drown because I knew my life was over. I saw my mother go through breast cancer when she was 51, and then it came back 10 years later and it had spread all over her body, and she was dead within a year of that diagnosis. So, for anyone out there, I mean, mammograms are important, yes. Sonograms are important, but I'm going to tell you a little story, and Barbara knows this, Lily knows this, because we want to help you if you may go through something like this, or somebody you love goes through something like this. Mine happened 3 years ago. I had a lumpectomy and radiation, and I was told that, I only had a 25% chance of it coming back. Then just last fall, I got a sonogram and a mammogram. I was told I was 2 years away from being in the safe zone, that it would never come back. And I was walking down the street and I felt back pain. Like, what is that? And I just ignored it. I thought it was nothing until it wasn't nothing. It got worse and worse and worse. And since I had just gotten those two, very valuable tests 2 weeks before, I knew it wasn't my breast. And my husband had had a heart issue, and he got me to his cardiologist, and I had a CD of my heart, and they saw metastasis
oh
in
my
my
God.
vertebrae. And that's how it was discovered that my cancer had come back and spread. So that's, oh my God, it's death sentence. But the first thing the oncologist said to me, after it was discovered, is, Lynn, it's not a death sentence. We know how to treat these things now. You're not going to die from this, at least not today, right? And it's amazing the things that they can do now to keep you alive and help you to thrive, even if you have the worst of the worst diagnoses. Most people now are on pills. It's not even chemo and radiation at a certain point. I was given a pill called Versenio. I was put on tamoxifen, and that's, as long as those things work, you're in the safe zone. And then something else will come along, and then they have shots if that doesn't work. It's not a death sentence. But what is a death sentence is if you don't pay attention to the signs in your own body and get it checked out. And Barbara, I know that once you went through this, you came out on the other side of it. And do you believe it changed you as a person? And do you believe it led you down the amazing path that you're on now as a healer?
I have a little bit of an issue when people use the term you survive, because we're all surviving life, right? We're all navigating, and most of us have cancer. It's or the gene, is it going to be turned on or not? And I work with Donnie Yance, as you know, and he's all about living with cancer. We've got a lot of schmutz in our body. And
Right.
so, has it changed me? It was one of the things that changed me, but I was very young, and I think lessons are taken in more when you're older. I think because they never told me how, and this is crazy, how serious it was, I didn't take that in. So the spoken word, and this is like a proven fact of how doctors treat their patients. If they say, I don't think you're going to make it, the what you hear about what you have actually affects the outcome. So, like you
Absolutely.
said, the doctor, oh no, we've got you. You've got this. There are things, and we're all individuals. We don't, there's
Right.
not one set recipe for everyone that has that kind of cancer or this kind of cancer. There are miracles too. I
That's
mean,
right.
amazing things that happen. So did it change me? It was one of the things that made me realize, and I think it was more my work with people that were dying, that everything is impermanent. But if you look at it with gratitude, then every day becomes amazing. I have a friend who's very ill and dying now. And on the phone the other day, she said, I have no life. But she's been saying that for the past 30 years. And I
Mm,
said, you do have a life. You're surrounded by your family now. Like a lot of it is, it's mind, body, soul. Like
yes.
Lynn, since I've known you, you are just, and I hate the word warrior. You're a warrior. It's like, oh, be quiet. You are just positive and you have just, you're very gracious and you're kind
Wow.
despite everything. You showed my sizzle reel to someone in the midst of what you're going through. It's who you are as a person is a big part of your healing. I really believe that.
And speaking of your sizzle reel, this is when I say that Barbara Slaine is one of the most incredible givers in life that I know. She has done a documentary, and we're going to link her sizzle below, but it's called Unfinished, and it follows a group of Connecticut prisoners, right? As they actually learn how to become hospice healers. Take us from the top how you got into this, because this is, to me, this speaks volumes about who you are and the empathy you carry in your soul, which has gotten you this far in life and keeps you in the healthy zone of life.
I agree. Like they talk about your cells have they know if you have a desire to live, to serve. You're doing this, Lynn. You're doing this because you want to give back. So for some reason, because I wasn't too big on the idea of death, became an end of life doula.
Who
It's
is,
that Woody
right?
Allen line. I don't mind death. I just don't want to be there when it happens, or whoever said it. And then I became hospice volunteer. And I don't know if it was my destiny, but I wanted to work in this program where these incarcerated men were chosen 12 disciples out of 1,200. And I finally, after 2 years, they invited me in to teach. They have a program established where they pick these men, and it is an in-depth, amazing program. And I went in to show them the power, and we're talking about this now, of our thoughts. What's the energy we want to bring into the room? And there's one scene in the sizzle where it was a second class, and this beautiful man, Gary, it was too painful because his grandmother died while he was incarcerated. And we said, Gary, could you just give us this afternoon to show you the power of energetic support? So in the sizzle, he said, yes. I said, okay, guys, Gary's, open to receiving. And he looks at me, he said, I don't want those dudes touching me. And I looked at him, I said, really? He said, gotcha. I mean, it just shows his humanity. And they
Yeah,
all came up, these big guys, and supported him. I
beautiful.
saw these men break down. I saw them desiring to serve. They're my heroes because they've used the prison as their ashram. Over half of them are out, and I just got them a speaking gig where they spoke at the mayor's office in Bridgeport to men that were coming out about the importance of service.
Mm,
So I don't know how I even wanted to go into the prison, but this has been the biggest honor of my life because I was so ignorant. Middle-aged, middle class, white woman. I never thought about prisons. We are
yeah,
housing some of the most incredible individuals that come out and they're stigmatized. And these
yes,
were
they are.
men that were young and I'm not talking about people that are really, not fit to be in society. They
Right.
should be, locked away forever. I'm talking about traumatized young men that were in situations that were unfortunate.
You're doing God's work. Anytime you help someone to that extent, it always comes back. It always taps you on the shoulder and keeps you moving forward to do more of God's work. That's my belief system anyway. And
I
um,
agree.
I'm gonna cry because I don't know many people who could do what you do. You're sitting in this beautiful place in Florida, and you could be doing anything you want to do. You could be sitting on any beach around the world. And yet you chose to go into prisons to help people help themselves and others. That is unbelievable, Barbara. And you keep doing it. You're not stopping.
Thank you, Lynn. But I have to say, it gives back so much more to me. Like, I brought some people in and they were like very uncomfortable. I am so happy being there, making them laugh, showing them that there are possibilities for them to help. So, but thank you. And I also feel somehow this gift was given to me, and now the next step is getting the film out.
You
But
will. We're going to help you.
thank you. Thank
It's
you.
linked below. If there's anybody out there who's
Yeah.
a filmmaker, please.
Just to watch the sizzle because it's so moving.
It
It
is. It
really is.
is.
And now these men are doing God's work because death, a lot of these men grew up in housing projects. Death was almost kind of like a fantasy. It was on television or there were gangs outside. But to sit with someone who is transitioning and they felt that their lives had meaning because they were now being of service was
Absolutely.
just incredible. And the best hospice workers I've ever seen, bar none.
To say nothing of the emotional factor that goes into watching somebody cross over, slip from life to death. That does something to all of us internally. It's not like an everyday occurrence. You are, this is the wonder of life that you're born, you're here for whatever your life's path is, and then this life is over and you're on to the next. But to be there at that exit point in other people's lives, to witness that, that changes us all.
It does, and it's a blessing. And I think we really can't get it through our heads that we're going to die. I mean, doesn't matter that I've done this. It's still the unknown, and there's a lot
Yes,
of like fear about it. But what it's done for me is that every day when I say to someone, "How are you?" They're like, "I woke up." I thought, you know what? That's a great way to start the day. I woke up.
absolutely.
And this day is a gift. It's so easy for all of us to feel tired, to feel annoyed, to get upset with what's going on with people and in the world. But it's not what's happening to us. It's what's happening for us. If, like you said in the beginning, if we can turn it around, like, what can I do? How can I serve? Because the best of us, I heard that Mother Teresa wasn't so nice all the time. I mean, the best of us are not always feeling great or feeling like
We
we
all
want
have
to give
shadow and
back.
light. We all
Yeah,
have good days and bad days, right? That is, again, that's
totally.
another one of the elements, many elements of life. And our personalities and the fact that we're human beings, we're affected by a lot of things in our day and our orbit. I feel like we all learn from each other, and our stories, every one of us has a story that needs to be heard and told. And the more we get those out there, I think the better off we all are, because at this point, one of the things we're all trying to get through, traverse, is the politics of the time, which can be so divisive and draining, right? And they take the life force out of you when you see, uh, people dying on the streets, or people just being bullies to other people, that where it's not necessary. We're all in the world together. Neighbors should be helping neighbors, not hurting neighbors because they don't look like you or talk like you or act like you. I just feel like we have a duty, that some of us, to help people understand that and to help people move through whatever it is that brings us down or brings us to that emotional level of sadness and grief. And there's a bird that just flew over
I
your.
saw that.
Oh my God, thank you. That is a sign. That's such a beautiful sign. And here it
Lynn,
comes again.
I want to just say one thing that we can only do what we can do.
Yeah,
And we're energy, right? And if we allow those that are not of a higher consciousness to bring us down, we're hurting ourselves because it is about that energy. So, like what you're doing now, that's adding to the positive energy. I don't like going into the negative too much because it's going to, you can feel your whole body
right.
dropping when that
Negativity
happens.
begats negativity, right? And one of the ways,
Exactly.
right, and we're talking about how to get through it, right? One of the biggest ways to do that is with light, positivity, and hope. That is the opposite of negativity, right?
I agree.
And that's why
And
we,
you do that. Like I was with you. Your people kind of love, sometimes I want to get into the weeds of things that aren't great. I try not to go there. They say that if you, look, we're all there for our friends, but if you allow someone to complain too much, you're actually not being a good friend because it's not in their best interest. Of course, they can complain, but then, okay, let's try to find a solution. I
right,
think that's in the world too. All these people are sitting around talking about it. Go volunteer, go help. The guys that are in the prison are the people that are being persecuted.
right.
So that, I see that. I saw what the officers did to some of them. It was horrible. And so we find this everywhere, and we just have to be advocates of the light and that it doesn't matter what color you are or what you do, you're a human being, period.
We have Lillian here, and she's a fabulous producer, great mind, and her own mother went through this. Any questions for Barbara as you sit here?
Well, I just want to say thank you, Barbara, for sharing about all of the amazing work you do. My question was really about those dark times. You know, when you do wake up and you have a bad day, how do you get yourself back to that place of light? Because you can't always just ignore it. Sometimes it's too much. And so I'm curious, on those bad days, what do you do to get yourself back to a place of positivity?
Well, the first thing I want to say, and I really mean this, is that if there's a history, whatever, knowledge and prevention, something as simple as do not drink from plastic water bottles. Like when you empower yourself to do things that are healthy for you, your cells, your whole body feels great. As far as a dark day, I think sometimes you have to allow the emotions, energy, emotion. You have to say, okay, I'm really feeling sad and not uh, just not judging yourself for having those feelings. That's even worse. You wouldn't judge someone else, right? And then go outside in nature, go for a walk. The movement is key to lifting up your spirit and what you put in your body and the thoughts that you have, but honoring the way you feel. No, don't shut on yourself.
Right.
Don't, I should do this, I should do that. Absolutely not. I had one day, it was a couple days ago, and my therapist said, all right, like, chill, you're having a bad day. I'm like, oh yeah, it's okay. It'll be, and then like a couple hours later, I was fine. But it was also because I allowed myself to tell a friend how I was feeling. And it's just the world. And sometimes people are disappointing. It's life. Life, we're not skipping through the tulips. And we're blessed.
Amen. And Barbara, your doc is called Unfinished, and
We're
it will
all
be distributed.
unfinished.
We're all unfinished. We're all works in progress. You're helping us all. You're helping the world get through it.
Oh, thank you,
Thank you.
Lynn.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.